Hello, collectors that like vans. We're going to take a look at one today, but I just want to give you a little heads up. I got the packaging here, and it was quite damaged. And, now the box is damaged as well. The model does seem to be okay, but just thought I'd let you know and where I got this. I buy a lot of stuff off AliExpress. And so this store here, this is the exact listing I purchased from. And the reason why is it says 1/64 scale. Now, I like these Daihatsu little trucks. Daihatsu is a Japanese brand, by the way. Um, but this is made by a Chinese licensed, I guess. It's made in China, but it's basically a Japanese design, a Daihatsu. And it's called a Daihatsu TJ1. Well, it's got a Tianjin Daihatsu TJ110, and it's from 1981, I believe. So this is my first Xcartoys. I've seen some other reviewers, review some military stuff from them. But I see these things around Asia a lot, and I guess they're also sold in Russia. But they're like really small vans, and I like K-class vehicles. I don't think this is a K-class. Oh, it is a K-class truck, actually. My research shows me. It's a cab over K-class, so it's a micro van, I guess you could consider it. And the Daihatsu ones date back to 1960, and they're over 10 generations of these little Daihatsu vans. And they've sold over 7 million of them throughout the years, so obviously very popular. Not in the West, but in the other parts of the world they are. So this is a 6th generation one. In fact, let me pull up some photos of the real. Okay, let's compare it to this photograph here. So this is a 6th generation, which was available between 1981 up to 2002. So hold on, let me focus on there. So FAW Tianjin is a Chinese company. The Tianjin TJ110 is a two-wheel drive. I imagine it's rear-wheel drive. And it was powered by an 850-ish cc 3-cylinder engine. And that 3 cylinders was making around 40 horsepower. There was also a high roof available in China. And then, other markets, they would have all-wheel drive options as well, I believe, and different engine choices as well. So, this is definitely not 1/64 scale. It's just too huge. I know these things are really small in real life, so yeah, let's pull out the calipers. I looked at the wheelbase on this one, and it's 1820 millimeters or 72 inches. So let's measure this out. I'm going to try to measure axle to axle, the middle of each axle here. Alright, 37.35. So wheelbase wise, this thing is like 149 scale. So it's way huge compared to a 164. Alright, well, anywho, let's get a better light angle here and take a closer look here at this beast. So it's got plastic wheels and exposed axles, very Hot Wheels. But you saw the price online. You'll have to decide if you think it's worth it. I do think that this paint is pretty nice. There is a little casting gouge there, but it's a nice blue metallic. And for plastic wheels, they're actually nicely molded. The only thing that's a distracting thing is this thing. But if you rewind back to the photograph comparisons, this does look like a center cap. So I guess it's not too bad. There seems to be some sort of silver thing here. I think this might be the fuel filler. And then we got a reflector or something up here. Seems an odd place to put a reflector, don't you think? I mean, it's so high up. But I guess semi-trucks do that. So, well, interesting. So the door handles are protruding and they're painted black, but there's also a recess for the fingers to go into, so that's pretty realistic. The panel gaps aren't actually that wide considering how big this model is. They're like Hot Wheels wide, but it's a huge model, so in proportion they don't look too bad. Here's the little sliding rail that the door would go on, and it's painted black. That looks pretty good. The front end, so this is what sold me on it, in the photographs, it looks pretty nice. It's kind of weird though. Let me see if I can get better lighting, but they're like plastic headlights, it seems, like clear lenses, but then they printed on black on top of that clear. It's kind of weird. I don't know why they would choose to print black and cover up the clear, because I've never seen a black circle on a headlight. Have you? Right? It seems strange to me. Okay, well anyways, the TJ110 is printed nicely, and then this must be Tianjin in Chinese text. The reflectors are just painted orange, but they're not painted too bad. And then the bumper is painted. It's cast into the molding itself. You can see a little blue shine there. Oh, the whole top is actually blue. So, and that's not the best paint tap. You know, it's not covering the top of the bumper, but a little black down here. The windshield wipers are protruding, and they're painted black as well as the black molding, so that's alright. The mirrors are cast in. There's no additional paint either. This side, well, this is interesting. Most of these cab overs, there's only a passenger door, the rear passenger door on one side. I don't know. It's actually on both sides of the vehicle, which makes sense. Okay, well, anyways, it's just not usual to see that, right? But I like it. Good design, Daihatsu. All right. Anyways, yeah. So that circle must be the fuel filler, I imagine. It's the only difference on the sides. Okay, the rear here, it seems to be all painted, but pretty nicely painted. The taillights are a good separation of color. They're printing here. Huali. I don't know if that's part of the brand of this. Anyways, there's nothing else here. There's nothing. It's weird there's no TJ110 written back here. Okay, so again, molded in bumper, and then it's painted black. So the bottom of this thing, there's oh, look at this. So Xcartoys is good. It is listed as 150 scale. It's just the packaging itself doesn't say anything, which is kind of stupid, right? Why wouldn't they just write 150 scale? So the seller, you know, they just assumed it's 164 because the box is so small. So I guess I can kind of blame Xcartoys. It's very misleading. Right? Why wouldn't they just write the scale in the box? And then let's see, it's copyrighted in 2018. So I think that's why the model looks pretty nice. It's actually approved by Daihatsu or Tianjin. What the heck do you think this is? I don't know what that would be on the bottom of the front of a vehicle. What's your guess? Anyways, here's, I guess this must be rear engined. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know where the engine would be. I mean, a cab over, I would assume the engine would be right around here. Maybe this is the transmission or something. What do you guys think? Or maybe this mold just doesn't make sense. Alright, well, actually it's going to roll pretty well on plastic tires. Okay, so the interior, boy, because it's black, it's really hard to see, even though with these giant windows. And speaking of which, what's the distortion look like? It's not too bad because the windows are relatively flat, but still pretty blurry back there. Could be better. Alright, well, let's get the flashlight out, see what we can... Check out what we can see. That is the lamest rear seat I've ever seen. There's no texture at all, but maybe the real van had no texture on its seat because it's probably pretty inexpensive. But no, look at this. The front seats also have no texture at all. Perfectly smooth. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way they did it and do it in China. I imagine this vehicle doesn't cost that much in real life. That's a strange looking dashboard, right? The steering wheel is way low, but then you have like a screen and a bunch of buttons or a vent or something on the top of the dashboard. I have no idea if this is an accurate interior. It's questionable. Okay, well, that's interesting. Boy. So this is like $10 delivered. I guess on the outside it's okay. I mean, it's along the lines of, like, say, a green light or an auto world. But no, maybe it's not, because it's got plastic wheels. It has plastic wheels. It's definitely better than a Hot Wheels. I don't know. Alright, well, let's compare it to a couple other things, because the scale again. Well, we know it's 150 scale, so... Alright, well, here is a Daihatsu in 164. This is made by a company called Daihatsu. This is a Daihatsu Tanto Custom, so it's a more modern vehicle. So yeah. Right, so this thing being older, this I think should be smaller than this in real life. I know these things are really small in real life. They're like large golf carts in real life. You wouldn't want to drive that thing on the freeway. You would die in an accident for sure. Okay, so let's see what else we got. Here's a Tomica Limited Vintage of a Toyota Town Ace, which is, I guess, their smaller van. So again, in real life, that would be an opposite size comparison. And then a pretty large van in real life is the High Ace, and this again is from TLV, Tomica Limited Vintage. So it's getting close, right? Alright. And then as usual, I like to pull up B.A. Baracus' van, because he pities fools driving little minivans. So this time around, B.A.'s van is actually bigger. But, I mean, in real life, again, it would be quite different. Alright, well, anyways, I like to give all my diecasts at least one revolution on its own before it vanishes into a display cabinet. So this time around is a little bit misleading, this purchase. You know, I'm not sure if I could really blame either company, to be honest with you. Well, no, Xcartoys, they really should put on the packaging. So this again is why I don't like rolling vehicles, because that just happened. If this thing had like sensitive antennas or fenders or something, mud guards or tow hooks, that would have broken off, or a mirror even. So yeah, does it roll? You guys probably don't. You don't want it to roll unless you do Hot Wheels tracks. Alright, so back to what I was saying. You can check out that seller if you think you want to get it. If you don't mind scale, it's a pretty good looking model. In fact, I'm now thinking maybe a wheel swap is in order. So I decided, you know, since I had a screwed together base, to try out these WORDC wheels. If you're not familiar with these wheels, guys, just look up custom alloy wheels. They usually don't actually say WORDC on the listings on eBay or AliExpress, but you'll see the images and stuff. So I'm not sure. I guess I'll leave it with these wheels for now. The only thing I don't like are the fact that the tires are so low profile that they look a little weird on classic cars. But behind this, you can see I found a Chinese car forum, and this is the interior. Maybe it has a new cover, but it actually has a pretty weak interior on this thing. Here's the front seats, you know. So this is what the dashboard is supposed to look like. So basically the model has the steering wheel too low, but it does have this like screen, something next to it. So I thought that was interesting. Always good to learn, right? There's a front view of the dash there, so it's like a bunch of vents and controls there. Okay. Well, I guess that's it then for this model. It's unfortunate about the size, but I guess I'll have to live with it. Okay, well, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next van review.